website, our official website, there's a place there you can sign up for what we call the daily debt. And every day we send you a text message. And that text message, we reach over, we built this whole system to reach into the Treasury statements and tell you, hey, here's what we borrowed today. Here's what we borrowed this month. Here's what we borrowed per second. So like yesterday, we were, I think, at $74,500 a second over the last 12 months. Get that. Sign up for it. You're going to get a text message from us every working day. Those people who do not understand the gravity of the growth of the debt. We now have, I think, a few thousand people that get the daily debt text message from our office. And I think it's starting to change the culture around here to deal with reality. And I can give you an example. So just before we went on Thanksgiving, so what, a couple weeks ago, I held up this board saying, hey, we're going to hit $36 trillion of borrowing in the next day or so. I stand here with the same board from functionally two and a half weeks ago. It's no longer 36 trillion. As of yesterday, it's 36,170 billion. Meaning in those like 2.5 weeks since we were last here, we've added another $170 billion of borrowing. At that current rate, we're clicking off functionally $1 trillion. What would that be? Every 105 days? So in all the people you heard come to the microphone this week, how many of them came from behind the microphone saying, we're going to borrow every 100-some days another $1 trillion? And there's the crisis. We have people walking up and down the hallways. I just had someone out here grabbing me, begging me, saying, now, don't cut any of our things that the Democrats gave us a couple of years ago. Yeah, I know every dime of it is borrowed money. Remember, and I need to, let's see if I can make this make sense. For every dollar of tax receipts we take in last year, we borrow $1, we spend $1.39. So we take in $1, we spend $1.39. So that $1.39 is borrowed. And these numbers just get worse. And this is the thing that makes people so angry. Every dollar of the borrowing over the next decade is not some fancy this or that. It's interest and healthcare costs. I think we're in a moment where baby boomer retirements this year will be about 13,000 people a day. They're moving into their earned benefits. Remember, we have a societal deal. You work so many quarters, you get Social Security. You do this, you pay in your FICA taxes, those things, you get Medicare. Okay, but this place is unwilling to have conversations of how to modernize the way we deliver healthcare to change the price. So every day, this government's going to borrow $6 or $7 billion. It's the math. So think of that. And even, I added on here, even if I remove the interest we have to pay every day, for every dollar we take in, we spend $1.21. Interest this year will be about $1 trillion. A decade from now, that almost doubles. It's our reality. So let's actually try to make a point here once again. And I'm sorry for anyone who's been crazy enough to watch one of these presentations, but for some reason I can't get this to sink in. Take a look. This is the 2024, so we've already gone through this. Mandatory, let's 24%. What we get to vote on, about 26% of spending. What that means is, you see here in the blue, non-defense and defense, every dime a member of Congress here votes on is borrowed. Every dime in defense is borrowed. Every dime in discretionary is borrowed. And the borrowing, remember the previous slide I showed you, for every dollar we take in, we spend $1.39. You know what that means? A chunk of what is mandatory Now, what is mandatory, David? It's those earned benefits. It's borrowed money. And I need to explain this real quick, because back to the comments on last week's speech, Social Security does not add to the debt. Paying back the borrowed money from the Social Security Trust Fund does add to the debt. So let's walk through this once again. Here's Social Security. They built up a trust fund of trillions of dollars. But today, the tax receipts that come in from your payroll tax, that 12.4% for Social Security, half paid by typically your employer or you, unless you're self-employed, you pay for the whole thing. Those taxes don't cover the benefits. So this month, all those taxes come in, Treasury, Social Security calculates, saying, oh, we're short this much. Reach over, call Treasury and say, we have these special Treasury bills that we pay interest on. They actually get a fairly decent rate of interest on them. We need to cash in this Treasury. So Treasury goes and borrows money to give money back, to pay back the money they've borrowed from Social Security. No one stole your money. Social Security doesn't add to the debt. Paying back the trust fund of Social Security does, because the money is borrowed. I hope I said that in the simplest fashion. But the point I'm trying to make here, we're on the cusp of being able maybe to try to do very hard things. But the army of bureaucrats, the army of people that want stuff, and they're spending, here's a check, but there's also spending through the tax code. Look, I'm on Ways and Means, or give us this special carve out. Well, that's technically spending. But everyone needs to get your head around. Every dime we as members of Congress vote on is borrowed money. All right.